So, what's real success for JT Daniels after the 2021 season? The easy stuff is saying, oh, well, they win the national championship. He throws for however many yards. But at the end of the day, this is going to be about results. What does this mean for JT? And that is something you got to ask about a lot of players. He's just one of the most visible ones because of his position. And I want to talk about that today because, what JT gets out of 2021 is going to really affect how Georgia gets success or failure in 2021. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. JT immediately coming out of the gates is confronted with a game where he can, I don't want to say cement his legacy at Georgia. You don't do that in season openers. But he can really cement his path towards the first round. This is a Clemson team that gave up a pile of yards passing to Justin Fields and the Ohio State Buckeyes. They do not match up great with Georgia's receivers and JT Daniels. But we've all seen what JT can do at the end of games. We saw that against Cincinnati, how he took them down the field to win the game. I mean, he didn't have a lot of time either. But what is the end goal here for him? I mean, is it about getting to the first round? Because the better he plays, the more likely he will get to the first round, obviously. And the better he plays, the higher Georgia will go in these rankings. And their chance to win the very elusive national championship will be there. To me, the best game he probably played was the Missouri game, where he came out with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was only 16 for 27, but he threw for 300 yards. I mean, against Cincinnati, that was not the greatest game he played. He played really well at the end of the game. 26 of 38 for 392 yards. Against Missouri, that was his lowest completion percentage. But I'm just saying after, the Carolina game was just really of no challenge to him. 10 of 16 for 139. He basically handed off the whole time. He earned 1 interception. It wasn't the ball that got intercepted, but it was another one that should have been. And one thing, I was talking with one guy yesterday who's sort of a Georgia insider, and he said the thing that concerned him the most about JT were the 10 sacks. Is that JT or is that the line? He was sacked 3 times against Mississippi State. He was sacked 3 times against Cincinnati. Those are not ideal situations. But I just thought he was so efficient against Missouri that that really felt like the best game he had played. I mean, the ball to James Cook was for the touchdown was one of the best plays he had during the year. He played well against Missouri. But what does all of that mean for him? I mean, how does he have to improve coming out of the 20 season into 21? What is success for JT Daniels? I mean, he's already the starting quarterback. He will have started 3 years of his college career in major college football. He needed this year, I think, to come back and show just what he can do for the NFL. Because I don't think he's a certain slam dunk to be a first-round guy. I think there are always going to be questions about his knee. And then there's going to be questions about his mobility, irrespective of his knee. I think that he's not a physical behemoth. He's not Matthew Stafford. He's not Zach Mettenberger size. He is a particular type of quarterback who is not flashy necessarily, but he's smart. And intelligence is starting to go a long way in the NFL in a way that it kind of didn't in the past. So what are folks in the league going to be looking for from JT? I mean, last year he ended up with 1,200 yards, 67% completion rate, 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. I think if you could expand that through, get that for an entire season of games. I mean, you're talking about in the regular season 30 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. I mean, that's pretty freakish for a 12-game average. I mean, 1231. You're looking at 3,600 yards. There's going to be a lot of pressure on JT to get the job done. There's internal pressure from himself, and there's going to be pressure from there's going to be implied pressure, and there's going to be pressure from the fan base who is starving for a championship. And they are going to have to score more points. And that gets back to JT. I mean, they're going to have to score more points. I don't know who the best team is that they'll play. In the regular season is Clemson. But I don't know who the best team that they'll play will be in 2021. But getting to Atlanta for the SEC championship, that is not legacy defining at all. That is not something that would be considered success by me. And I know I'm not the arbiter of what is and is not success, but it's not going to be considered success by a lot of people. So this is going to be about how he plays in the last 3 games of the year. And that's the SEC championship, whatever bowl game or semifinal, and then if there's a championship game after that. That is going to be what defines his success at Georgia. What defines his success, JT's success, as it relates to the NFL, is going to be how he performs consistently through the year and in practices. I mean, COVID took away scouts' abilities to go see guys practice. Well, we're back to normal now. So they're going to see, all these teams are going to see, all these franchises are going to see. And there's plenty of franchises out there that are in quarterback conundrums right now. I mean, you look at the Steelers are going to have to get somebody, okay, at some stage to come and play quarterback for them. The Falcons, at some stage, are going to have to get a quarterback coming in. I mean, I think the Steelers are going to have to draft somebody in the first round this next year. But you get my point. This is an opportunity for JT to really get where he wants to go, which is the league, and to do so being hoisted on the shoulders of a fan base that has been starving for a championship for a long, long time, and is I can't tell you how overdue, vastly overdue is the way I would put it. I do want to give you some Stuckey's scoop here, thanks to our friends at Stuckey's, who have really helped us this summer. I've talked about these pecan grills a lot. If you have a store, you're going to want to have these in your store, if you're a convenience store, if you're pharmacy, something like that, because they sell well because they taste good. And again, I repeat this a lot here lately, but we've had a real issue in our house. I used to have a lot more. I've only got 3 left. I used to have a box of these, but my daughter has done some damage, and we have too, my wife and I. So they're really well worth it. Let me get to the Stuckey's soup though, and that is Kojo Antwi has really been this has been considered a real big fight between Georgia and Texas A&M, and for a long time. It looked like Texas A&M was the team that would be the team to beat. But the Stuckey's scoop for the week is we can tell y'all now that Ohio State is out for Kojo, and that is as of today. You know how recruiting is, but this is starting to look more and more like an A&M Georgia battle. And I think Georgia's in better position than they were. I don't know if they lead or anything like that, but the Stuckey scoop for the day is that Ohio State is out for him. So that's one big player out of the way. Texas A&M has really had a good recruiting season. If they come onto the scene, it's going to hurt teams like Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. So they will need to be monitored. Texas A&M doing a good job. We'll see you over on the website, dawgpost.com.